I'll ask you a few follow-up questions on behalf of the listeners. I'll tie in the word let's there about All Out. First one. It has already been said by Tony Khan on Twitter, it was the most bought pay-per-view event, as we all assumed it would be.
Yeah.
If it breaks 200, if it breaks 250,000 buys, what do you think the reaction from Vince McMahon and WWE is?
I give up trying to figure out what they're thinking. As I just said a few minutes ago, they're letting these people run away with this thing anyway. Is somebody going to say, well, they're doing it with all of our guys? Well, then I'd track down who let all those guys go, if that was the case, if that's the comment. And again, they've got a dedicated fan base already. Obviously, we know that. These people, the Elmer's glue set that will thank you for the ice cream. But if they they've already, the TV ratings over the past few weeks since Punk has shown, well, he picked up a couple 100,000 from what they were doing on a regular basis. Now they got Cole. Now they got fucking everybody. I can't imagine what the WWE is thinking, or if they're thinking, as the boys used to say. Because, again, this AEW as a company was fairly flat, give or take, for what, a year and a half. And then suddenly...
But again, pandemic.
The people in their homes are still watching television. The point I'm making is that all of a sudden, this momentum that we're talking about started when the WWE started firing everybody's favorite wrestlers and letting them fucking go, and they started showing up here. And now all of a sudden, everybody's going, what the? And Punk. And now all of a sudden, the worm, as they say, has turned. But pandemic or no pandemic, the show looked the same every week. The numbers were mostly the same every week, except when they hot-shotted some, piranha cage of death underwater match or whatever, and then they'd pick up a few, and then they'd go right back to where they were. But now they're picking them up, and they ain't going down because they have a steady stream of new mainstream stars that are coming into a different environment. Everybody always loves that. And they're huge baby faces, all of them, because the people love that they escaped from the evil empire. And even if this slows down and after Bray Wyatt and whoever else, they can't find anybody else right off the bat, they've still picked up a few 100,000 people on a regular basis. And as long as they don't do shows that are really crummy, they hopefully won't run those off. So to answer your question, I do not have any idea what the WWE is thinking, but a lot of this has been served up on a silver platter by Vince and his minions who want to do what Vince wants to do.
Having seen NXT at various points over the last several years and knowing that Adam Cole for the last 4 years or so has been a top guy there, and with all these changes happening and the talent that's being signed by the different companies, again, this is all hypothesis here, but what do you think Triple H is thinking? Seeing Adam Cole come out there and get that big pop on that show. Look at where Triple H was, not just in terms of position, but stature amongst the smart fans 3 years ago, and look at where he is today.
Yeah, 3 years ago, it was a picture of every independent darling shaking hands in front of the logo with Triple H.
Property of WWE.
Yeah, and now it's basically video of Triple H helping them carry their bags to the car. I can't imagine what he thinks. He's like, we had this guy. We had this guy on our TV program, and now fucking everybody's screaming, Adam Cole, baby, on the other channel. Of course he's out of his mind. I would have to think he's out of his mind.
In the 90s, AEW is great for AEW fans, but let's be honest, Vince had a much bigger threat at that time from WCW than AEW is at this moment. We'll see what happens in the future. But Vince reacted to that by changing his entire product, by doing things he would never do before, by going outside of his comfort zone. And it was a lot of crap. But the shit
Yeah.
that worked really worked.
Yeah.
And it propelled the business.
Yeah.
Can you see him doing that today?
No. You know why? He's got no bullets. Give me back my bullets. He had, when he lost Nash and Hall and Hogan and Savage, the backbone of that started the initial invasion, and WCW is beefing themselves up, he fell back on those young guys, Foley and Triple H and fucking Austin and Rock, and think of the roster that both companies had then. Not only stars, but guys that were fucking ready to be stars in the future and did become stars. And also tons of guys still from the territories, tons of guys still with experience, tons of guys that hadn't just been trained at a wrestling school. I don't care whether he wants to get out of his comfort zone or not now. There's one key ingredient missing that was there 20-something years ago, and that was a large pool of talent that could replace guys that left and get over even stronger because they were already ready to be stars. And now, if they don't steal the stars from the WWE, then AEW is getting them from the Indies and the Nightmare Factory. And where's WWE getting its stars from? NXT. And they just fired half of them. And the ones that there is no Steve Austin or Rock ready to bubble up on the horizon in NXT or anywhere else.
And whether we like the AEW talent or not, which company does a better job of putting someone on TV and at least treating them like a star and not just beating them right away or something?
I don't know. That's a loaded question.
It's AEW.
I haven't seen a lot of great introductions. I've seen great entrances, but as far as the booking of new talent.
But look, if Karrion Kross or Keith Lee had gone from NXT to AEW instead of NXT to WWE main roster,
yeah,
you concede it would have been done a whole lot better.
Yeah, they'd have
less insulting.
They'd have gone 15 minutes through a break with Lee Johnson. See what I'm saying?
Maybe so. I'll take that over a tennis skirt. That's what I'm saying. Or a demolition knockoff mask.
But that's the point. Vince can get in any frame of mind he wants to get it in at this point. But there is not a large supply of talent that you can use to replace people or elevate them or whatever, like there was 20-something years ago in the wrestling business now. There's a bunch of indie guys that have trained in the indies and can have indie matches, and there's a bunch of guys that trained in wrestling schools, but there is no more experienced talent out there that wants to be a part of these two companies that is already not. Or elsewise, where would they fucking be hiding?
And Vince better come up with a better answer about AEW for the next shareholders conference call, because you're going to be getting that question more and more and more. They're getting all the publicity. They're getting all the articles. I saw something someone sent me from ESPN.com, a picture of Punk, a picture of Danielson, and it said, Bryan Danielson to CM Punk return to the ring. And I'm thinking, well, CM Punk returns to the ring after 7 years. Danielson was just wrestling on their main roster months ago, and you can almost forget about that.
Hey, as all I'm saying is that there's not a lot of real money-drawing mainstream talent out there that's been trained and is experienced and ready to go. So the more Vince gives up because he doesn't particularly like whatever the fuck Triple H is doing or whatever, or the more that Nick Khan just saying, well, we're paying him too much, and they show right up on the other side because that guy's not worried about his fucking budget, then the worm turns quickly.
And we've seen his bullets. It's Goldberg, it's Lesnar, and it was Cena. Cena's already gone. Goldberg, the law of diminishing returns. Lesnar, time will tell. Tony just took a bunch of guys.
Punk looks like a goddamn minor. he's only 40. My God, he could barely even buy beer legally compared to, well, he can't at all because he's straight edge. But you know what I mean, compared to these other guys.
And Tony has all these guys that he's gotten who all seem younger, even if they're not terribly younger than Lashley or something. They all seem younger. And Cody's still ready to be brought back in and worked into something. Adam Page. He still has other guys that weren't even on this pay-per-view that he could get going. WWE, there's a reason it's Goldberg and Lesnar. Who else is there? You're going to go back to McIntyre now? You're going to go back to Rollins now? You got rid of Bray Wyatt. You got rid of Braun Strowman. Not that that was a big loss.
Well, I was about to say, every once in a while, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. They probably did a good job there.
Tony has multiple guys he could slot in and out. Vince is, I hate to say it this way, Vince is running out of talent. For top of the card, he's running out of talent. They just signed Gable, what's his name?
Gable Steveson.
Are they going to keep his name or give him some stupid name? He's no longer someone you've all heard of. Now he's John Rivers.
No, they can't change his name. That would be insane because that's the whole reason they signed him to begin with, because he's a fucking Olympic gold medalist and a star. And but now he's going to become, no, that can't work.